They are coming in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We're going to let folks filter in for just a minute here, about 1 minute, and we'll get started with the Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative Zoom for today. Thanks for joining us. Winsley, do I have our Facebook Live friends synced and everybody in? All right. Well, then let's get started for today. Hello to everybody. Happy 2022 and welcome to the Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative's virtual session for today titled All I Want for Christmas is More Employees. This is part one of our two-part employee recruitment-based series. Today is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. My name is Blake Martin. I'm a local small business entrepreneur, like many of you, and a founding member of the Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative, or EEC as we call it. EEC, who hosts these sessions, is a collective of now 11 community resource providers. So there's a lot of organizations, but we're going to read through the list real quick because we want to clarify the breadth and depth of what we cover as an organization. This includes the Better Business Bureau, Catholic Charities, the Greater Omaha Chamber, the Greater Omaha Chamber's REACH Initiative, the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, Nebraska Business Development Center, OPPD's Business Support Team, SCORE Mentors of Greater Omaha, Omaha SourceLink Nebraska, the Business Ethics Alliance, and the U.S. Small Business Administration. As I just proved, it's a mouthful. We're not giving you a quiz on it, but we just want you to remember we're here to help you with all things small business. A couple of housekeeping things before we get going. All participants will be muted throughout this session to eliminate background disruptions. So you may want to turn your phones to the tase mode just to keep from disrupting yourself. If you experience any bandwidth issues, you might want to try closing other browser tabs. We will be checking questions real time via both the chat on here, Zoom, and also through the Facebook livecast in the comments section. So please submit any questions you have during and after the presentation. We're going to try to answer all of your questions real time right here. If we miss anything or you think of a question afterwards, just reach out to any of these 11 EEC resource organizations that I listed. We'll get the answer for you. And yes, today's session, like all of ours, will be recorded and posted, both immediately via the live cast on Facebook Live, which is in our Greater Omaha Chamber's REACH program. So that's facebook.com/groups/GOC.reach. That's where you'll find it right away. And then a downloadable and shareable version that will be posted to our EEC Facebook page within 48 hours. That's facebook.com, and then just go type Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative. That's where you'll find all of our recordings. We will be continuing these monthly third Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. sessions every month, except for July and December in 2022. Again, you go to Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative on Facebook and type in to the events section. You can register for all 10 of the 2022 sessions right now, or I should say 9 of the 10, since we're in the midst of the first one. The link for the February 16th, that's the third Wednesday in February, which is our next session and part 2 of this recruitment series, that link will be posted into the chat throughout, and it will be part of our post-session communication email that we send to all of you. Like everybody right now, we are tracking COVID and that environment on a daily basis, and we really hope that we're able to do 4 of our sessions, the February, May, August, and November, both in person and virtual. So stay tuned, watch your email, and watch Facebook. We'll keep you updated on that. Now to the good stuff. I'm going to introduce today's presenter. We have several presenters today, so we'll do them in order of their presentations as they come up. Our first presenter today is Nicole Reiner. She's the Chief Strategy Officer for Nebraska's Department of Economic Development. She's going to be speaking about the Good Life is Calling initiative, and she'll be handing off for the Skill Bridge program. It's also run through the department just after that. Nicole is from Vermillion, South Dakota. She's got an MBA and she's currently at UNL, a PhD candidate in leadership education. She retired after 21 years of service to our country. She worked in various intelligence specialist roles, Navy as an intelligence specialist, working for the Pentagon, and with Stratcom at Offutt. Now she works on Director Tony Goins' team, and she lives in Papillion with her husband, who's a Navy helicopter pilot. So a family of service providers to our nation. She's transitioned from the military herself, which becomes important when she and her team start talking about the Skill Bridge program in a little bit here. For this first presentation, The Good Life is Calling, there's one important context that I would ask all of you to consider as listeners. As any prospective team member, you're trying to get here to Nebraska and or any existing team members you're trying to retain, this entire initiative and program becomes very important. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you, Nicole, and I want to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Blake, for the wonderful introduction. You make my background sound so fascinating and exciting, but realistically, I spend a lot of time just doing research analysis and on the email in a dark hidden room. As you said, I am Nicole Reiner, the Chief Strategy Officer for the Department of Economic Development. I'm here to talk about the Choose Nebraska campaign. What we have seen through, not just the pandemic, but as we can compare ourselves to our near peers, which includes our direct neighboring states, but also if you lump in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, you'll see that Nebraska in the past couple of years has suffered a little bit of a brain drain. I think a couple of things that the pandemic has shown is the importance of broadband and connectivity. Nebraska kind of had a jump start on that. We have a lot of backbone fiber in the ground, and through the CARES Act, we were able to expand a lot of those fiber networks, which creates opportunity to both attract and retain talent in the state of Nebraska. Also with COVID, more and more people are realizing that they don't necessarily want to live in the hustle and bustle of metropolitan areas, not just, Boston, San Francisco, but to an extent, Minneapolis and maybe Kansas City. So this marketing campaign, you won't see it a lot throughout the state of Nebraska because it's not focused for people that are currently in Nebraska. It's focused in the marketplaces that include Chicago, Minneapolis, Denver, our neighboring states, and then also coastal areas, highlighting, our low cost of living, our tremendous public school systems, also with the ability for more and more people to work from home and education from home. It's more reasonable to either come back to the state that you lived in growing up or move to a new state that has an excellent quality of life. We've been in the national spotlight, not just before COVID, but after COVID, for our record unemployment rate and, the resilience of our economy. And that is attributed to both the talent that we have in Nebraska, our entrepreneurs, the unique ways of thinking that when the economy more or less shut down, other ways to do business, but also, the connectivity that we have in many, small towns throughout Nebraska. You could definitely put in an argument that communities like, McCook, Hemingford, Gothenburg, and Valentine are much better connected broadband wise than Omaha. So when you're attracting talent to the state, it's important to note that Lincoln and Omaha aren't representative of the entire state. They actually don't represent the state. There's so much more out there. And, I live in Papillion, but, I'm still tied to Offutt Air Force Base. But if I had the opportunity to leave and go to a smaller town, I would love that. So without further ado, I welcome any questions you have along the way. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and take you through the marketing campaign that we are running in markets where we're looking to recruit a lot of the talent. Let's get this started. All right, I want to confirm that everyone can see my screen. Perfect. So good life, great opportunity. The vision is to grow Nebraska through economic development. There's a lot of different levers that lead into economic development, as you all are probably aware. And the subject of this is All I Want for Christmas is More Employees. Currently, there are 50,000 jobs vacant in the state of Nebraska. Some of them due to COVID, where people didn't return back to work, but also it shows, our state is growing. Businesses are expanding and relocating here. What's next? The talent to fill those jobs. Our priorities: efficiency and effectiveness, customer service, growth, public safety, reduce regulatory burden. The values being, taxpayer, the team, simplicity, respect. Governor Ricketts has been a huge advocate on cutting that red tape. Bottom line, when it comes to, priority and values, kindness matters. A big thing that not just Nebraska, but the Midwest has, that a lot of these coastal or large, Dallas-like cities don't have, is kindness and the relationships that you're able to build, and the small town feel, even when you are in a community like Omaha. Again, the strategic pillars: developing our people, continuing to provide skill sets and training our people, tax relief, and cutting that red tape. Nebraska is definitely in the position of economic strength. We have the lowest unemployment rate in American history. And I want to highlight that this isn't just during COVID and post-COVID, but we were there prior to COVID. So this is actually a trend and analysis and not a result of COVID. We continuously have rising wages and incomes. I work on a scorecard that compares our near peer states, and we are one of the few states over the last 10 years that once inflation is taken into account, average income and salaries has actually increased. And a lot of our neighboring states have either stayed stagnant or decreased. Large investment firms here, to include, Kawasaki, Amazon, Google, but they aren't the backbone of our economy. Our economy is built on agriculture and built on entrepreneurs such as yourself. So the key to all of this is the skilled workforce: getting those people, keeping those people, retaining those people. Through that, a huge pillar is recruit and retain. So what we need to do as a state is not only retain the talent that we have, whether it is talent through those that grew up in Nebraska and are in the University of Nebraska education system, university system, or that have, left the state, and we want to bring them back. We want them to raise their families here. We want their skill sets here. We want them to thrive here, and we want them to grow here. We want to become one of the top states for transitioning veterans. I'll touch a little bit on that, but my coworker here, who's also a SkillBridge participant, will be highlighting that more. A lot of legislation has been passed that make our state more attractive to veterans. Bottom line, recruit beyond the state borders. You need to retain the people that are here, but think like a coach. The example is University of Nebraska. I wouldn't necessarily say recruit like the University of Nebraska football team, but volleyball team, absolutely. And I go to the University of Nebraska, so I feel okay kind of saying that. Again, DoD SkillBridge, it is a program run through the Department of Defense. There are 200,000 people annually across the world that either retire or separate each year. Approximately 1,000 of them are from Offutt Air Force Base. Nebraska wants to capitalize on this talent. SkillBridge, it's important to note that every service member, no matter where they're stationed in the world, has access to this website. So this website kind of does the recruiting for you, because in their last 180 days of service, they have an option of basically working with a potential employer or working with a business to gain some of that real world experience that helps to enable their transition to be easier. Not everyone, has the opportunity to have a smooth transition like I had. And SkillBridge is a way to connect talent to opportunities. And again, like the opportunities, it doesn't have to guarantee a job at the end. For the SkillBridge participants, a lot of it is just experience of what it's like to wear normal clothes and talk to people where, every other word isn't an acronym, and get them acclimated for their life outside of the service. Again, as of today, 70 businesses, I think that has actually been updated. In the past year, we have seen a significant increase in the number of businesses within the state of Nebraska that have participated in this program. Pat will get into more detail, but it is absolutely free. It doesn't matter the size of your business. You can be the size of Amazon with tens of thousands of people, or a small sandwich shop located in Waverly. It doesn't matter the size. If you are seeking talent, this is a pipeline to access that talent. So brand recognition, a big part of selling Nebraska, especially to the youth talent that we want to attract, is marketing ourselves, getting away from Nebraska being labeled as a flyover state, or there's nothing there, but corn and flatland. We obviously know that. I think the elevation difference between Lincoln and Alliance is, like 3,000 feet. So we are not a flat, boring state. We worked with the marketing firm Arch Rival to come up with a statewide branding campaign. Again, you probably haven't seen this on, your television, or maybe on, ads that pop up, but they are playing on a regular basis in the Minneapolis area. I want to say that this campaign, when it was initially rolled out, it was during the Nebraska-Minnesota football game week, and this debuted in Minneapolis. So putting Nebraska on the national radar, like I said, our target areas: Denver, Kansas City, Chicago, Minneapolis. This has been featured on numerous television outlets and websites, specifically to target, remote workers, those looking for opportunities and wanting to come back to, the good life. Site selection, again, just another example of part of our campaign. And then I will play you the video now. I don't know if anyone will recognize the voice. We can do that kind of a trivia. So if you think you know who it is, go ahead and chat Blake. And at the end of this, I can tell you if you're correct or not.
If you want to be great, start with good. Like good friends, a good job with good opportunity. Is that normal? Good nights and good mornings, good trails and good air. It's good to go for it. Good to find your pace, a good space, a good embrace. Let me in there. A good place to set up shop, a good front yard, backyard, and if you want, barnyard. Good teachers, coaches, and next door neighborlies. Good official handshakes, good non-official handshakes, good people, good churches. It's good to be free. Cannonball! Good things, good times, good manners, good games, good game, good game, good game, good schools, good artsy stuff, good this, good that is not Nebraska. Wait, that's Nebraska? Good commuting, good, commuting. Tastes good, looks good, is good. So good, we're showing it again. It's a steal, people! Good feelings, good fishing, good steaks. Those are great. Good medical places doing medical things. Good pharmacal places doing pharmacal things. Gonna make it good, even more good. Good stars, good dreams because of said stars, and good kids. Well, normally it's a long day of filming, okay? These are the in-between moments that make Nebraska. They say you can't have too much of a good thing, but we've got plenty. The good life is calling.
All right, I hope you all enjoyed that. Any guesses on who the narrator is? I can't see if there's any chat.
Yeah, in the chat, Adam Levine.
I think his last name is Divine.
Divine. That was the
Divine.
first guess. So
Yeah,
it
he
goes to
was
Michelle Coolidge.
comedian. He was in, a bunch of different movies, Modern Family. He's from Nebraska. If you didn't realize that, he grew up in the Omaha area. Huge Nebraska Cornhuskers fan. And he gave us his time, and he was very excited to be able to narrate this. Separately, he's done a couple of things. I don't know if it was through Forbes magazine, but it was the state slang. So if you have an opportunity to, Google Adam Devine and state slang, there's a lot of things that come up that people from Nebraska will be very, very familiar with, such as detasseling and Quiznos. In addition to that, we've done some branding videos through RedThread that the idea of this is to capture real people in real moments. We have encouraged businesses, success stories to reach out to us to provide these videos that, again, we can put out to the World Wide Web and show people, real people in Nebraska, what it's about. It's not fancy editing or Photoshop. Like this is real life.
And I just kept saying, there's something in the water here.
And
there's something special about Nebraska.
Goins.
We pride ourselves in grit and making sure that we push to levels that other places may not be accustomed to. Business is really cultivated here to an extent. You can become an entrepreneur, and you can take something from inception that's very small, and you can grow it in a way that has really, really large reach. The future of Nebraska is really being led by technology. We have a phenomenal university and innovation campus, and we have some of the best scientists, some of the best technology leaders on the planet. That Silicon Prairie in this state is real. I really want to drive home the point that you have to come here and establish relationships. It's a real lever that we have here in Nebraska that you don't see in other places. And what you find with these really, really strong international or these strong business leaders here is that they're humble. Like they will take your phone call. They will have a cup of coffee with you and share their experiences to help you be successful. Here in Nebraska, being kind is actually synonymous with being strong. You will get a greater level of support if you exhibit the highest level of servant leadership, if you exhibit the highest level of kindness, and if you are able to earn trust from the citizens and from your fellow peers in the business community. Those three things. I really feel that the state of Nebraska, our story has been undertold and undersold. And it's okay to be humble. That's a part of who we are. But we still have the opportunity to help the world grow, help society grow by sharing some of the great things that we do here. And so what I want you to do is I want you to share your story. We want you to grab a camera and make those stories go viral.
And there really is no better way to kind of close out my portion than the nebraska.opportunity.gov. We've got lots of resources there to include, the Youth Talent Initiative, Intern Nebraska, opportunities for business expansion, entrepreneurs to start businesses. And in the end, we all wear the same jersey, regardless of what color it is, whether it is red and white, or I guess I'm not quite sure what other universities' colors are, blue and white, but we all wear the same jersey. We're all on the same team. In the end, our goal is to grow Nebraska's economy and continue to promote the good life and the great opportunity that we have in this state. Some of the campaign metrics, it's been very successful to date. Again, help us go viral, share this information, push it out there. If you're not aware of it, that's okay, because it's been very popular in other states. Oops. Again, we all wear the same jersey, and pending any questions, that is all I have. I do see that I have some.
Nicole, we'll jump to questions after we go through the other
Okay.
two presentations.
Perfect.
As a transition and a quick reminder, so if you're looking for more information on the program she just talked about, it's thegoodlifeiscalling.com, and that's in the chat there, and we can throw it on the Facebook livecast as well. Nicole, thank you. We'll hear from you in a minute again too, but I'm going to jump right into Jeremy Bouman, who is the founder and CEO of Rise. Prior to joining and founding Rise, Jeremy served for 7 years as the Associate Vice President of Development at Creighton U, where he also got his Master's of Science in Leadership. He has 20 years of experience in higher education and nonprofit leadership, including organizations such as Lutheran Social Services and Dana College. Before Jeremy starts, I wanted to make a point of reference real quick. He's going to talk about this program for reentry of formerly incarcerated individuals who've paid their debt to society and worked through a very rigorous and a groundbreaking program to become productive, contributing, employed citizens. So do yourself and your business a favor. Don't tune out just because you're here incarcerated. You're going to miss out on a viable, safe employment solution if you tune out. So with no further ado, Jeremy, I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good to be with everybody. I'm Jeremy Bouman, CEO of Rise, and wanting you to think today just creatively about how to meet some of your workforce needs. And one of those is returning citizens back to our community. We have 2,000 people who return to Nebraska communities from our prison system each and every year. And we know with workforce shortages and challenges, public safety improves and our communities become healthier and wholer when we are giving opportunities to people coming back from incarceration. So we have a mission as an organization to break generational cycles of incarceration. We are the most overcrowded prison system in the United States in Nebraska, and Rise kind of stands in a place where we provide habilitative pre-release programming that prepares people to reenter well. And we do that with an inside-out solution. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of walk you through a little bit about Rise and what employment looks like for returning citizens. And then we'll have an opportunity, I understand, for questions. And I will be sharing a little bit about some different incentives that the federal government offers for reentry hiring. So the program that we do is 6 months. It is very holistic in nature, and it's done at 5 facilities in the state where participants are working on character development, job readiness, reentry planning, and entrepreneurship. They put together a 20-page reentry plan in the program. They're in class 2 to 3 days per week, and they graduate our program with a certificate in workforce readiness from UNO's business school. In the before times, we had a lot of volunteer events. These are photos of some of our facility-based events where we would bring in employers and people from the community to coach on resumes and personal statements, to watch and judge pitch competitions, and to do mock interviewing. So helping people really with that workforce readiness piece, both pre-release and post-release. We serve in 7 of the 10 Nebraska prisons across the state. And this program, again, focuses on holistically just a whole bunch of things that put people in a position of success to be successful when they come home. We deal with things like shame and forgiveness and etiquette and parenting and personal development and growth, things around, how to get your credit back on track. We use some mindfulness. We do Gallup strengths, and a lot of this workforce readiness is not just the only thing that people are doing when they're incarcerated. I encourage you to think about when you see applicants who have lived experience, they're doing a lot during their incarceration to prepare themselves for life after. There are lots of associate degree programs they're working on. They're working on clinically based programs to deal with their recovery or for their betterment. They're also working on a lot of skills and skills that maybe your business needs. where they can get a CDL Class A license, before they come home, or welding or OSHA, or lots of different types of certifications. People are not just sitting, they all have jobs, and that gap on the resume is not a gap. There's a lot of work that's being done during that time. There's a lot of additional upskilling and preparation that people are doing, so that they can be successful and hit the ground running when they come home. Our Inside Out program, we offer a number of post-release services. So every one of our graduates has case manager and does reentry programming. We have a business academy for those pursuing entrepreneurship. We also have a parent program and a family program supporting the loved ones of those who are both incarcerated and those who are coming home. 1 in 3 people in our state go back to prison within 3 years, and it's very expensive. This incarceration cost to our state $44,000 a year for one person. 89% of the people in our state that reoffend don't have a job at the time of their reoffense. And we know with this generational cycle that 70% of kids with an incarcerated parent will follow in their footsteps. So really, one of the big solutions to lowering recidivism and improving public safety in our state is providing opportunities, is employment for people who are coming home. We know that a lot of people are unemployed typically right when they come home. And RISE works, with about 100 employers currently to get people working as soon as they can, whether they're at work release, before they come home, or when they come home. We are working diligently to help meet some of these workforce gaps that we find in our state. So why hire Second Chance? Nobody's going to go through a wall like the people coming home to our community from incarceration for you as an employer. And RISE is working with people to become good team members, to really teach a lot of the soft skills that are not exactly reinforced during their incarceration. And when you hire a RISE graduate, you're also hiring RISE. The person that you hire has a case manager assigned to them that's working with them on their reentry and helping them with things like mental health and substance abuse and housing. We know that if people can make a livable wage, they're able to care for their families and give back to the community in ways that we all want to do. And the people that we work with have completed their prison sentence. They might be on parole, but they have, they paid the debt for what they've done. And if, as a community, we want to be successful, we all need to care collectively about how we help people transition home and reenter. And this is an untapped workforce that is there for you. And they are ready to step into jobs, but they need those opportunities. And often small business owners like yourselves don't have quite the same, red tape or challenges with hiring that's maybe some of the bigger companies do, where they're considering HIPAA or one of the, 800 industries that just automatically will not hire people with a felony background. You can take advantage of this talent pool and, help meet some of the workforce shortage demands that your business today is facing. There's some federal incentives for second chance hiring. We can talk to you about this directly, but I just wanted to mention them, particularly as a small business when you're trying to be really cognizant of your hiring and, where you can potentially save money or find some benefits. For second chance hiring, there's a work opportunity tax credit. This tax credit is available for new hires. And it's, if you're hiring somebody who's within a year of release, there's a nice tax credit that you can apply for at the end of the year. The state of Nebraska's Department of Labor has a federal bonding program where they have different bonds of $5,000 each that are stackable, that you don't have to pay for, that are available to you for second chance hiring. There's also WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's an option for employers to receive partial or full wage reimbursement for hiring somebody with a barrier and If you're providing specific types of training, you could qualify for that. So we can help connect you with the right people at the Department of Labor. And I see somebody from Heartland Workforce Solutions is on here as well. And so we can kind of help connect you with some of these resources if that's of interest to you and you do pursue second chance hiring. So I'm happy to move on to the next section and stay within my 7 minutes, and we'll happy to take questions after.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate that very much. You may have noticed during Jeremy's overview, we did post in the chat information about how to get a hold of RISE, both through the website, which is curise.org. That's SEE, the letter U, RISE.org. We're going to move on to the third and final segment of this session before we move to the open Q&A. This is the Skill Bridge program, military transitions programs and paid internships for military transitioning members. Pat Godfrey, an actual participant in this program and a team member with the Nebraska Department of Economic Development, is going to present to us on that session. So Pat, thanks for joining us today, and the mic's all yours for 7 minutes.
All right, thanks much. Great to be here. I'm one of the 200,000 service members that's departing the military this year. So let me go ahead and share the screen with everybody. Stand by. All right. All right. I think we are on. All right, how's that looking? We getting Outlook now?
Not yet. We saw the slides up, and then we're back to just the desktop.
Okay, so it's not showing?
Not just yet. Might try clicking on the PowerPoint at the bottom.
Yeah. Nicole is going to drive, so I'm showing it up here. It might be just a screen issue.
There we go.
All right, team, how are we doing? All right, good to go?
You bet.
Excellent. All right, so I'll do a quick overview. I know Nicole hit a lot of these finer points on this one. So I am not one of the 1,000 service members coming from Offutt. I'm coming from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. I have no ties to Nebraska, but just positive experience with this area. I chose to finish out my career and come and relocate to Nebraska. I'm going to go and slide to the next one. So a lot of the reasons for that, just the things that Nebraska had to offer, cost of living, the quality of the schools. I had been stationed at Offutt in the past. Positive experience, family experience from that. And that was one way to attract me to this area. And another big benefit for military members starting this year, it'll be a full 100% of their military retirement pay that's exempt from the tax system. So that's a new thing, new legislation that went into place. So it's a positive for those that are retiring members coming out of Offutt or at any other place around the globe. So tapping into the talent, the DoD Skill Bridge. So I am currently being paid by the military. In my last 180 days of service, I've elected for 4 months to work here at the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. The state pays nothing, the military pays me. All they need to do is provide a space for me to work and operate. And it's extremely helpful for me to transition back into the civilian life that I left years ago. And definitely appreciative for what the director and Nicole and the rest of the team here is provided for me and several other members that are currently in the program. This right here, we have a list. What we can do, if you can't see this, we can share the slide deck with everybody at the end of this presentation. And this just goes to show the businesses that have enrolled in it. If you're not one of those and you're interested in doing it, we can get to that here later on down the line. Have some helpful tips on how to do that and assistance that we can provide here because we've been through the process quite a bit. We do have quite a bit of individuals who are also that have shown interest. I believe that was the former list here. From an individual standpoint and a business standpoint. So we have probably about 25 people that have showed interest here at the DED. We've only been able to have about 5 present. And so there's quite a bit of interest and opportunity, not just folks coming out of Offutt, but other people that are either looking to make Nebraska their new home or make their way back to Nebraska after departing the military. This right here, sorry, this was a list of the individuals that have shown interest. You can see, for those that are familiar with military ranks, there is a mix of the enlisted force and the officer force. Officers are college grads. I would say the primary interest is the 4 to 8 year point of an individual. So what you're doing is you're getting talent from folks that they've gone through the process. They're in the military. They're used to following directions, used to having that orderly system, and coming back out in the civilian life, they can provide a lot of the talent, the leadership that they've developed over that period of time, and then apply it to your organization. So a few questions here. If anybody has any that they want to throw in chat, we can address those as they do come in. But there is no cost to your organization except for just providing a space for an individual to operate. You can have one, you could have many, you could have them for up to 180 days. You could have them for 90 days or a month. It really just all depends on what you're looking for, but also it depends with the individual what matches their schedule and their abilities. And like I said, it's just a great program for me to be able to transition. The move from California back here was a challenge, as you can imagine, and this has just been tremendous help for me to be able to bridge that gap of a lot of stressors with the move and coming back to a new location. From a talent, it's the sky's the limit. Just think military. It's not just a bunch of individuals with weapons defending the nation. We have skilled technicians. We have civil engineers. We have educators, intelligence officers like Nicole. A lot of it really just boils down to the experience that they get and the skills and management and leadership that they can provide. So how to apply? There is a DoD SkillBridge site. There are a lot of steps with that. Like I said earlier, the NDED can assist with that, with the application process. You can fill it out and we can help be the bridge to get it through the system and answer any questions. We're really here to assist businesses here in Nebraska with this process. It's a very vital process if you want to get involved with it. But to get involved, you have to go through the Department of Defense and have a signed memorandum of understanding. And once that's in place, then the sky's the limit as far as being able to get individuals. This is just a view of the SkillBridge homepage and the website that's there, industry partners, if you want to go through this process yourself and how to participate. And this is just one of the few steps that you'll get that initial participation and then get follow-up emails on what to do next. It doesn't happen overnight. It's still it's a federal government. and there's a lot of interest that's really increased over the last year. So it just, you'll have to compete with other people that are getting their applications in. And it's just a process that will take some time, maybe a couple of months to get through the system before it becomes officially in there. The last page here, contacts, if you want to reach out, patrick.godfrey@nebraska.gov. We have a couple other members of the team, if you can see that. Matthew Mendez is sitting right over here beside me right now. And we can answer any questions that we have after this brief.
Thank you very much, Pat. So we've completed the three major topics that we wanted to talk about today. Lots of questions have started to come in both through the chat and through the Q&A. So I'll turn it over to Jim to start posing those questions to the appropriate presenter.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. The first question I'm seeing, I think it was related to Nicole's presentation, but probably everybody can answer if they want. So how do I use all this to find employees? As we go into our marketing campaign, how do I get my job posting found by the right employee? So Nicole, I think that was towards you, and anybody else can answer after that.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, one of the avenues is going the veteran route, tapping into that talent, both for short-term and long-term. They can come on staff as basically an intern, and then kind of a try it before you buy it, if there's a spot and you want to hire them on after the fact. Also, when it comes to listing job availabilities at the nebraska.opportunity.gov and the Nebraska Works, you know, making sure that any posting is available on there. We try to highlight as much as we can, and anything that we can assist with. Also, those videos, the red thread, you know, if you are an up and coming business or not, or starting something new, and you want to highlight that fact, submit a video, and we will push it out onto our social media, as you probably will do on your own.
Super. Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate that. Jeremy, I have a quick question. Where do we stand on ban the box legislation in Nebraska?
Yeah, so in Nebraska, they were a few years ago passed ban the box for public entities. So you, on applications for state applicants, the box has been removed that says, you know, check this box if you have a felony background. It's been introduced, but hasn't gotten very far for private companies. There are a number of states that do have that for private companies, but we currently.
Thanks, Jeremy. And then I have a question, and I'm going to narrow it down to workforce. Is there any legislation in this current session that the Department of Economic Development is supporting or opposing when it comes to workforce development and related topics?
So I can't specifically state or speak as far as what we are supporting or not supporting. Usually what happens is a bill will come, and then we provide our the cost it would be for us to facilitate that. There are several bills that are in committee to include, let's see here, adopt the Quick Action Closing Fund Act, LB 729. This is a recruitment and growth for high impact businesses, changing deadlines for job creation and Main Street revitalization, grants to improve technology infrastructure. That's LB 699. LB 701 is changing some deadlines. Let's see here, what else have I got? For LB 730 would probably be of interest. This is adopt the Growing Workforce Investment Now Act that provides tax credits, employers who employ a qualified apprentice or trainee. Limitation relating to microloans, that is LB 759. There's adopt the Nebraska Career Scholarship Act, LB 902. So there are a number of bills that are in committee that obviously they won't all get passed, and I'm sure there will be significant change to all of them as there always is. But yeah, I have 7 pages worth of economic development related bills that are have been introduced for this session.
Thanks, Nicole. I thought you were going to have to walk a tightrope. You did a superb job doing that. You might, if you're still interested, you might check with your Chamber of Commerce, the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, or NEDA, which is Nebraska Economic Development Association. All of those institutions also follow these bills really closely. The next question I have is about SkillBridge, and have any nonprofits been qualified, and are any nonprofits working with SkillBridge yet?
Yes. So DED hasn't personally, signed any of those up, but on the webpage, nonprofit, depending on, what you would state as a nonprofit, the 55th Wing is signed up, the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, United Way is signed up in some states. Habitat for Humanity is in a handful of states, lots of state and local governments. So yes, nonprofits absolutely have partnered up with SkillBridge. I don't know exactly how many are with Nebraska.
Super, thank you. And are there any other questions? If you do, just put them in the Q&A or the chat. We'll get to them. We do record this, so this will be going on the EEC Facebook page. You can check it out there. And Blake will be posting that. Usually we try to get it posted within 24 hours. And so that information will be available for somebody that wants to view it again. Blake will touch on that in a minute as we close out, or he just did in chat. So you can check out that information. And I don't see any more questions yet, Blake. So unless I missed something, I think you can bring us home, but really appreciate all the great information. Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, sorry. Just 2 things I'm going to add for SkillBridge. There's misconceptions that it's only available to, enlisted, not officers. That's completely false. There's also misinformation that you have to be within a certain number of miles from a base. That is for the DoD program. That is not the case. I have received numerous inquiries from people specifically asking if we had a DED footprint in O'Neill or Valentine or Alliance. So a lot of the inquiries that I get, I simply, can't take on those SkillBridge personnel because they're looking to go to other places outside of Omaha and Lincoln. And unfortunately, at this point, the DED program is only available in Omaha and Lincoln. So for those of you that aren't in this metro area, there's lots and lots of opportunities that people are looking for in greater Nebraska.
Great, appreciate that. Okay, Blake,
Thanks for the clarification.
Yep, go ahead, Blake. Sorry.
Thanks for that clarification, Nicole, and thanks for your help there, Jim. So let me start the closing, and if we get any questions while I'm going through these, we'll field those as well. But let me start the closing with a sincere apology to Jeremy and the RISE program for me misenunciating the contact info for RISE. The actual contact info, which we've posted once more into the chat, is seeusrise.org. Correct, Jeremy? SEEUSRISE.org. So that contact information is
correct.
Here. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. That contact information, as well as contact information for all 3 programs that we heard about today, are in the chat. This is being recorded and will be posted to our EEC Facebook page, as Jim mentioned. That's on Facebook, Entrepreneurs Education Collaborative. You can go to the events tab there to register for the rest of the sessions and learn about them for this year. And you can also go to the videos section to see the recordings that we'll post. The shareable downloadable one on Facebook will post in the next 48 hours. And of course, we've got our library of sessions there. So one more time, I want to give a sincere thanks to our presenters today, Nicole, Jeremy, and Pat. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We know there was a lot of information through today's session, and you may have follow-up questions on what do I do next? How do I get information? If you haven't seen that through the posts and the conversation we had today, reach out to somebody on EEC or reach out through this contact information we've listed, and we'll help get you the answers. We hope that you found some information here that will help you grow your teams and help you grow your business in the year 2022. And again, thank you to all three of our presenters, Nicole, Jeremy, and Pat, for their contributions today. Our next session will be the third Wednesday of February, February 16th, and it is part 2 of this recruitment series. So we hope to see all of you on February 16th at 11:30 a.m. right here on Zoom. Go ahead and register today on our Facebook page. Thanks all of you for participating, and we look forward to seeing you again in 30 days. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Nicole. Pat, thanks, Blake. We'll touch base soon.